Welcome back to the show, folks. This is another drive time special. Of course, as the volume of matches increases, you're going to get some recordings and you're going to get some live shows. It's just the way it is, trying to squeeze everything in. But this is our match reaction to Liverpool versus Fulham. Liverpool 4, Fulham 3. Poor performance by the Reds in total when you think about it overall, but unbelievable goals that were scored across the board in this game and stuff like that. Some really poor goals that we coughed up. We must be much better than that and stuff like that. There's been a little bit of a drop off in the performance, trying to identify what that is. Some of it I presume is tiredness, some of it I presume is just, I don't know, we get a feeling this year we're trying to coast sometimes through games. Looking at the formation I spoke about the other night on Jack's reaction as well on Anfield Road TV, go check that out with Spider and Nigel and all. Great crack with the boys as always. But yeah, it's just the formation seems a little bit weird at the moment in terms of we start out really solid in our formation. It's kind of set and it's structured, and we play really well in that first, say, 15-20 minutes, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden it kind of just goes a little bit weird. Trent inverts, McAllister kind of forgets he's a 6, and we kind of don't take a few chances that present themselves to us, and I think a collection of all that is creating somewhat of an anxiety in the team in terms of trying to get the job done. It's as if this year we're trying to get the job done really early in games and then, you know, sit in and coast through kind of thing. And when it doesn't happen, it presents us with a problem. Now, the goals, if you look at the goals, I mean, Trent's free kick, absolutely sublime. We know he has it in his locker. You know, the goal by McAllister, what a missile. If there was ever an advertisement that McAllister needs to be in the 8 role, that is the advertisement for it, really, isn't it? Then Endo coming on, what a brilliant team goal. Something that we forget about Nunez as well, that people tend to forget because they're so busy consumed with the fact that this guy isn't scoring. But a beautiful cushion header down to Mo Salah. Mo Salah turns the ball, lays it on a play for Endo with plenty still to do, and just a lovely finish into the top corner. No panic, no smashing, just places the ball into the top corner. Keeper had no chance. And then of course Trent popping up at the winner. Got away with it a little bit, in fairness. I mean, there was a foul in the build up to it, but we rode our luck and we got it, and that's the main thing. Get out of there with the 3 points, which is so important. For their goals, Harry Wilson, of course, real sort of training ground goal, wasn't it? Really poor from us, just switching off. It was like when you set up your teams to go attack versus defence with bibs on the training pitch, and you just coast in and you score those little goals short-sided and stuff like that. And that's what that was. It was really poor, and a massive drop-off and a lack of awareness. Today's goal was decent. Bobby Darkoba Reed's goal, I think, needs a lot more attention. I think Costas needs to be way stronger. I think also Virgil van Dijk could get a little bit tighter in case it does happen. I think we need to be a little bit better in those moments, and I think we weren't. And I think what happened was we were a kind of responsible kind of for nearly our own downfall as well, and at a time where you really can't be dropping points to the Sheffield Uniteds, to the Fulhams, to these teams at the moment. If you want to be in a title race, you want to be in around that title picture, and I think we will be. And I think there's kind of I think there's a lack of realisation, I think, within the squad as well, that we actually are in a title race and we don't really want to say it, or we don't want to talk about it, and that's a real problem as well, because we are. And I think what happens is we're kind of a little bit hiding behind the fact that we're kind of transitioning into a new midfield and all these kind of things and stuff like that, and we don't really want to put that out there. So, which is a good thing from my point of view. We spoke about it on the shows. We want to kind of operate just under the radar, you know, let the media and everyone else talk about the issues at United, the expectations at Newcastle, the little drop off from Man City, how good Arsenal are doing this year, and let them talk about all that stuff, and we'll just go about our business. But the Fulham game was just a kind of a weird one. I think with Nunez, I think some of the criticism, even we've heard from Robbie Fowler, of course, the criticism about he needs to start finishing those opportunities, and he does. And I think what happens is, I think it's getting in his head that he's kind of forcing it. If you look at the one that he missed the other day, I mean, well, he missed a couple of chances, but if you look at the main one that he missed, He only needs to stroke that past the keeper. He doesn't need to be absolutely volleying it into outer space. You know what I mean? So that, I think he just needs to be a bit more relaxed in those key moments. We've seen it in the Newcastle game. We see what the boy can do for Uruguay when he's in that relaxed mode. But for some reason, when it's Liverpool, just seems to be pressurising himself a bit too much. And you could see it when he missed that opportunity. You could see it in his face. He absolutely could not believe that it hadn't gone in, you know. I think he's doing all the right things. I think he's getting into the right positions. I think his effort is fantastic. I think his involvement within the team and the overall build-up of the play, I think, is absolutely brilliant. But there comes a time when your number 9 needs to score goals. And we said it even in the past with Bobby Firmino. We spoke about how thankless Bobby Firmino has been in terms of Mane and Salah in the past. But there does come a time when you need to start popping the goals in yourself. And that time will come, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the encouraging thing for us at the moment is we're not really playing well, but we're winning. We're getting points on the board. We're in around the top of the table. So that's what's really encouraging. So there is upside there for us, that when we do hit our straps, when we do start completing those passes, when we do start doing those right things, it will come good for us and we will put a lot of goals in, and that's what's really important. I think there's a huge mentality in the team, and it took that the other day to still get the win. I know people were talking about Klopp's substitutions and stuff like that. For me, I think it kind of worked. We got the result. We won 4-3, but on another day that pans out and it's a 3-all or a 3-2 to them. And I think we need to stop making these teams look so good and making them look so difficult and stuff like that. We should be going out there about our business, be a little bit more clinical, and be a bit more, be a bit more in tune with the formation, in tune with the structure of the build-up. You know, when you see Trent inverting into the midfield, when you see McAllister bombing forward, Gravenberch didn't have as much of an impression on the match this time and stuff like that. He couldn't find those spaces. Everything seemed to get very clustered, very on top of each other. Again, I expect a lot more from Luis Diaz. I don't think he's given us near enough of what he should. Again, I think there's massive upside there for improvement there as well. I don't know why, especially in the winter time with cold weather and keepers standing around freezing cold, nearly solid, I don't know why we're not pulling the trigger on the edge of the box when we get those opportunities. I don't know why we're trying to play passes through the eye of needles when there's better opportunities available out wide and stuff like that. Again, I don't know why in our own final third why we don't, why we aren't closing down teams a lot more and affording them the space that they're getting and stuff like that. We've seen it with Fulham, we've seen it with Luton, we've seen it with a number of teams where we're kind of tucking in a lot more tighter in the 18-yard box, and we're affording this space on both wings in our defensive third. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed. I think Costas could get out tighter to players out there. Likewise on the far side. Again, it depends on what way you want to do it. Is it Trent that gets back and should be doing that? I think he has a role to play in that. Or should be a case where Matip goes out there on the cover to make it nice and tight. But then is he affording space to Fulham on the inside? So we need to be a little bit more conscious of that. And I think the other day we just lost our shape, we lost our formation. It became very congested at times on the pitch within our own players and stuff like that. And then because the midfield was a little bit emptied out, it was easier for the likes of Palhinha, who's a quality player and stuff like that, and Harrison Reid, to kind of pull the strings and find the space that they needed. And I think our own downfall is what made Fulham look so good. And no disrespect to Fulham, they haven't been a shadow of the Fulham team of last season, and we should be dealing with them much better at Anfield. It shouldn't really be a 4-3 smash and grab. We should be a bit more professional in our performance. Matip going off injured is obviously a concern. Kanate will go in there now. We've also got Kwanzaa there available. We've got Joe Gomez as well. And that was an interesting one. I spoke to the boys about it the other night on the preview show, or the post show as well. I was thinking, like, he brought Joe Gomez on. I assume Joe went on to sit back into that back position there as a protection to allow Trent to go do what he wanted to do. But all of a sudden Joe was up there attacking as well. So we kind of really just abandoned our principles and just went for it. And listen, I'm not too upset to see it, because we've seen in previous matches where we've needed goals at times and we've been playing the ball around at the back, and our build-up play has been slow and stuff like that. So I'm not upset with going for it when we need to go for it and we need the goals, and we did it, and this time it worked. Sheffield United is up next. That's going to be another tough game. I hope we're not going in with the same mentality. A number of players look really, really tired as well. People have been asking, why is Dominic coming off at such a time? Why is Alexis coming off such a time? It's because they're tired. They're just tired, and they're just worn out with the volume of travel, the volume of football they've played. Look at Mo Salah the other night, who looked absolutely banjaxed, who has played so many minutes this season, even international level, for Liverpool, all that kind of thing. And obviously he was anxious to probably get the 200 goal, because you're hitting a landmark then and stuff like that. So you're obviously anxious that you want to get that done, and of course no one more than us as fans want him to hit that and go on and 201, 202, 203, push on, kick on and all that. We know we're going to be losing him in another month or so, and he's going to be a huge loss for us when he heads off to the AFCON. It'll be interesting to see how we set up then. But yeah, Sheffield United coming up on Wednesday night. Difficult place to go, probably going to be horrible conditions. If the weather here is anything to go by, we're in for a horrible wet kind of week. I'd imagine that's across the board in the UK. So yeah, we're going to need to be on it, and I think if we can do that, and if we can keep that gap tight with Arsenal, like if you think about it, like if Arsenal beat Luton tonight, which I expect them to do, and we beat Sheffield United tomorrow night, we then play first on Saturday, another 12:30 kick-off, of course, against Crystal Palace. Again, another ground not easy to go to, horrible weather, probably at the weekend as well, now that we're really in the depths of the winter and the cold weather. But we need to be on it, and by lunchtime or by early afternoon on Saturday, we could be top of the league by a point. So that's the payoff. That's the opportunity that we had, and we've seen in the past, when this opportunity of door creaks open, we don't tend to slam the door. We don't tend to take the opportunity. Somewhere along the line we mess up. So I'm hoping that the mentality going in to these next two games is going to be where it needs to be, because we can't afford that gap to open up too wide. In fairness, I think probably the team that wins the league this year is going to be the team that does what needs to be done in January in the window. Whether we have any plans for that yet, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the gaffer does in that area where he sees opportunity. Will players go out? Could we see Thiago leave the club? Who knows? Who can come back in? Could we have Stefan back by then? Hopefully we'll definitely have Jota back by then. But really, really important to keep it going, keep the wheels turning, keep the points going on the board, keep the pressure up there as well. City look like they're creaking a little bit at the moment, not taking their opportunities, coughing up goals you wouldn't expect them to cough up, you know. Tough game now against Villa on Wednesday. Who knows what's going to come out of that? Emery doing an unbelievable job for Aston Villa, and you know the gap after Wednesday could be 6 points against Arsenal, you know, which would be a huge gap at this time in the year, and who knows what's going to happen then after that. But City showing signs of mental and physical fatigue after winning the treble, and no surprise, very, very difficult to get yourself up and get yourself motivated after winning the treble, and you know, playing literally every game you could and stuff like that and all. I mean, they were sensational last year, but there's been a big change in City, you know. Kevin De Bruyne out injured, Gundogan gone, Mahrez gone. These are big, big players, not easy to replace, what they bring to the team in terms of effort, in terms of goals and stuff like that. We've seen how important Gundogan was last year for them, and how he pitched in all the time, even at times when they were in sticky situations and matches and stuff like that, he was the guy. So it remains to be seen what happens there. I think all we can do is just focus on ourselves, stay under the radar, go about our business, let everyone else start losing their mind about the positions they're in and stuff like that. We know the position we're in. We know that there's plenty of upside in this game. We can improve and get better all the time. Let's see what happens in the January window. But two big games coming up this week. Sheffield United on Wednesday, and then Palace at the weekend as well, are two massive games. And we really need to put 6 points on the board. Can't be any messing about and stuff like that. Talking about Kelleher as well in nets, deputising from Allison. Not easy to step into that jersey and into those boots. He is without a doubt the best keeper in the world. But I still have confidence in Quavine. I think he could have been stronger in moments the other night or the other day against Fulham. I think the 2 goals that went in on another day, you probably kick yourself for not saving them. I do like how quickly he recycles the ball out into play. I think that's really, really good from Quaver and stuff like that. I think as the matches go on, I think he will improve. I know Allison is probably due back for the Man United game, fingers crossed. Let's see what happens there. That's going to be a big game there in turmoil. We should really be putting them to the sword as well. Great opportunity, great moment. Sheffield United on Wednesday could have no manager. Let's see who goes in there. There's talk of Niall Reacts going in. Imagine Niall Reacts on the sideline against Jurgen Klopp. That'd be tasty, to say the least. So let's see what happens. Onwards and upwards, Reds. A big 3 points. Not a great performance. Some unbelievable goals. Such a conundrum when you're talking about the Reds at the moment. Let's see if he makes any changes. Let's see what the presser brings today. We will be doing a Sheffield United preview later on. Again, it might be a recorded show, might be a live show, but we'll see what the presser, what the gaffer comes up with the presser today. Let's see the bodies that are available. Let's see what his thinking is. Will he ring changes? Could we see Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott in for this one? Could Gravenberch, could Alexis, could Endo go in there? Has Endo made a case for himself now to go in as a number 6 and start in some of these games now? Certainly for me, I think that's the case. I think we probably should be starting them at this stage. Could we even switch it up a little bit? Could we put Endo in the 6 and maybe Mac out on the 8 and maybe on the other side Harvey, you know, does Curtis come in? Let's see what happens. Plenty of options there still. No doubt to launch a surprise on them. They're going to be missing McBurney as well, who's a focal player for them. Hasn't been hitting the straps, he has been hitting, but again, he's kind of their guy, isn't he? He's out after receiving the red card there the other day, so that will help us as well. But nothing can be taken for granted in this league. Let us know your thoughts, folks. Let us know what you're thinking as we push into 2 really big games coming up this week. Lots of minutes for these boys. As I said, we're going to need a real big squad to get through this season. Still fighting on all 4 fronts as well. Big tie against Arsenal coming up in the FA Cup as well in the new year. That's going to be absolutely fantastic as well. But the games are mounting up, picking up the injuries here and there. Salah going off to the AFCON. It's going to be quite a challenge, but let's see how we up for it. Until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video. I'm your host, Niall. This has been the Shankly Sessions on the Upper Tier Podcast. Liverpool 4, Fulham 3, and we move on now to Sheffield United. Cheers.